Hey guys, how's it going? So we are standing on the brick patio. You can see it right behind me. It's kind of in shambles at the moment. Look at this. We've had a few different people come and get bricks, and you can see that they kind of picked through and got the ones they liked the best, which is fine because, you know, this area is about ready to be changed in preparation for the new gardens that are going in around the Hartley. And it kind of includes this whole area because we have to trench from the side of the house. So let me walk up here real quick. It's going to be a mess for a while, and I kind of am excited, kind of not. So to get water and electricity, we have to come from the side of the house. They're going to hand dig under the boxwood hedge here so that we hopefully don't wreck any of the boxwoods, because this is one of my favorite little swoops here. And we have to trench right through here. We have to lift this whole sidewalk up. And if I spin around, we have to lift all of this. And then we have to go over here, trench through here. This is where our well is. And then trench over this way out to the Hartley. Yeah, it's going to be a complete wreck. And I knew that we had to do that in order to get, you know, everything that we needed to the Hartley in the end. And we've been wanting to change up the entryway. I just have been a little bit foggy as to what I should do in this area exactly. It's kind of an interesting space. So we park right here. There's a random white fence section just like on its own right here. We are taking that out so that we can kind of retool this whole area. It's just kind of a hard space when all the plants are grown. It's really narrow. You know, if you are carrying groceries, they snag up on this fence, and it's just, I think we can do it better. Anyway, so we have been working to prep the area, move plants as much as we can, and that's what I'm going to be doing this afternoon. There are some beautiful daffodils at the top of this brick raised bed circle that we planted year before last, and I really want to try to save them if we can. So this area right here, there are 3 hydrangeas that are going to a friend's house, and then I today am going to be digging all of the ones on the upper level. Frosty Snow is the name of the variety, and they're just so beautiful. The other variety we have in here on the lower level, they're called hawara. They are a short daffodil that have clusters of blooms at the top of each stem, maybe like 3 to 5 blooms. They're really pretty. I don't have a spot ready for those yet. Hoping to get to those before Chad makes it here. But anyway, what I'm gonna do is water these in the Frosty Snow variety today and transplant them. And it's not a great time to transplant. The best time to do it is after they're done blooming, after their leaves have died back. That's the time to dig them and move them, but it's kind of now or never. So those are the Frosty Snows. These right here, you can tell a huge difference. These almost look like chives. And if you look, you can see that these are starting to bud up. So yeah, not the best time to move them, but if I don't move them now, the bulldozer will. So I think it's worth the risk. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna water them in right where they're at, because I think that if I do that, more soil will stick to the roots, so it'll minimize disruption. The roots can be a little bit fragile, and I know it's gonna be messier and heavier to move them, but I feel like that's the best way to go. And we've got those 2 big black square containers that flank the entrance to our cut garden. I've got nothing in them right now. I thought that these would be so beautiful in there, just all grouped together en masse. So that's the plan. If we make it to anything else this afternoon, that would be awesome, but this is the goal for the day right there. Now, we were told that there was actually a concrete pad underneath all these bricks, and I don't know, like that looks like concrete right there. Definitely we have a concrete layer underneath the bricks that surround it, so you can see as you peel back this layer. And I know I was hitting it with a shovel. Like every time I dug in here to plant something, I had to plant the things on the edge at an angle, because this concrete piece I think it goes deep in there. Super weird. Aaron always talks about how he wishes that at any given space, like at any given home or spot, that he could rewind the clock like 100 years and see what was there and see, you know, what had been done, what changes had been made throughout history. It'd be really interesting to know. Okay, so let's get these watered and moved. Oh, and isn't this interesting? Did you guys find my tarp? Both of you. My goodness. Shovel, biotone, gloves, kneeling pad, and buckets and a tarp. I have no idea what I'm going to actually use. I thought I could line all the bulbs up on this tarp to minimize mess. It's going to be messy either way. we got them all dug up. And I was really happy with what the roots look like and how much soil stuck to the roots. You can see that the hydrangeas are still in there. I went ahead, since I roughed the area up so much, I watered those in until my friend can come and grab those, which will probably be in the next day or two. And here is what the back of the gator looks like. I'm attempting to shade what I can of the roots here because it's quite warm today. We've got this bucket and that little group right up there. Yeah, I think the high for today is supposed to be around 72 and it's feeling that way, like definitely toward the season when I can stop wearing sweatshirts. Okay, let's head out to the cut garden and get these planted. Okay, here we are. You can see the cut garden right there. Ranunculus and anemones are looking good. I've been checking on them. They were planted day before yesterday, looking really good under those tunnels. And the soil in here, so it is from last season. You can still see some roots here. You can see that the soil level is quite low, which is kind of perfect because we want our daffs to be like 4 to 6 inches deep here in the containers. I'm just gonna use this old soil. We'll toss some biotone starter fertilizer in just to help the bulbs, but we're gonna be removing these daffs again. These poor daffodils, their little lives being moved all around this garden, but I think they'll be so pretty in here, and I don't have anything to put in these pots for right now. So since we are going to be moving them out here shortly after they're done blooming, we will refresh soil after that to get ready for summer plants. So I'm basically just going to go through, make sure that any like major root balls are pulled up, and then we'll put a layer of biotone in and then the daffs. Let me show you a close-up of these daffs. Like right here, you see this clump right here? This was planted as one daffodil. So these frosty snows all came from color blends, and they start out these huge bulbs, and then this is how they spread and naturalize. So you can see that this original bulb has created 2 side bulbs, which you could separate, and you could, you know, move these around, spread them apart. Here's another one. See how this just comes apart like that? So we've got an individual right there that came off of this big one. This one could come off too. See that? I'm gonna leave it though. But we're gonna take something like this, and I'll scrape a little bit of the soil back. Make sure there's some up against the sides there. And I'm just gonna put them in just side by side right in here, and then we'll come along in the end with fresh soil and kind of just like top dress around them, make sure that we fill in any air pockets, so on and so forth. It's a fairly easy project, really. So we'll get them all planted and then watered in. Then I'll show you what they look like in the end. Oh, and real quick, this is what I'm tossing in the soil before I put the bulbs in. That will help the roots kind of establish and hopefully not transplant shock. All done. Oh my goodness, if these take to their transplant and bloom, these are gonna be so pretty. Can you imagine? Because they'll grow about this tall. About that tall, full of white blooms. Oh, I can't wait. We ended up with just a few left over, so we can go put those in another container. I'm not sure how many went into each of these containers, but a lot. I will be running fresh drip in these containers, like fresh drip tubing. I cut last year's out. We were having some issues with, I know one of these, and I can't remember which one because we've moved them a couple of times. They were in the orchard and they were moved back out here late in the season. So anyway, I just thought, you know what, best just to cut the old stuff out and just start fresh. But I did get them watered in today. So I put them all in the container, watered them in once, and then I put new soil, like topped them up a little bit and watered them again to settle that soil around those bulbs. And they will get full sun out here, which they will really like. There's nothing out here to shade anything, not yet anyway. There will be in the planting areas one day once our trees start to grow, but these prefer full sun, so they should be happy campers. Let's head back up toward the barn and find a pot to put these remaining ones in. That's it. That's all that we had left over. Can't believe how many we were able to cram in there. And that's how I would have planted them if I was putting bulbs in these containers, which I have done before. I plant them pretty much side by side when in containers, and they just make for a really full, beautiful bouquet. Of course, out in the landscape, you do space them apart further, but this way you get impact. Well, isn't that just the sweetest pot right there? Oh, I love it. So all those daffodils we had left over in the center, so they will become a nice, tall, beautiful centerpiece. And then these violas, these are called sorbet pink wing. One of my favorites to use in the spring. They just look like Easter to me. They're so fresh and bright, and I love them. And that is it for today's project. I'm just so happy that we got those daffodils moved. I mean, we're gonna enjoy them so much in those containers out there. It's gonna be a spectacular show. And then this container, I'm gonna put by our back kitchen door where we walk multiple times a day. So we'll really get to see it and enjoy it. And everything we get dug from the area around the Hartley and this brick patio area, it just feels like an extra bonus, just to have enough time to get them moved. You know, not knowing exactly when Chad's going to be here. It's sometime in the next couple of weeks. Every day that we get something moved, I feel like, oh yes. And then, you know, other people are coming to get things. So I don't think there will be much left when Chad actually comes to do his thing, which is kind of the goal. So the rest of my afternoon is going to be spent watering and dividing dahlias. I still have 6 crates of dahlias to divide. I've been doing it a little bit at a time, but you know, all of ours, we don't plant them until May. And I have to remember, it's still March, even though it doesn't feel like it outside right now. After I divide, they're all going back in storage until May. I mean, one year we didn't get them planted. The first year was like June when we planted them, and it's usually not till the mid to late part of May, so they stay in storage until that time. So I've had 3 crates sitting here in the greenhouse for several days, and it gets pretty darn warm. They're probably thinking they should wake up and start growing, so I need to get with it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.